Hey everybody, welcome back to another beautiful day in real estate. It is the end of April. We're starting to feel the warm weather. Everybody's getting more excited. I can feel it I can feel the energy. Today we have some exciting news for you first-time home buyers out there that have been waiting to get into buying a home, and here's how they're going to make it happen on a federal level. That's going to be really exciting. But before we jump in, I wanted to talk a little bit about this. Number one, make sure to like and subscribe. We're going to bring educational content for the real estate market and the economy every single day, 5 days a week. And we're going to start going on weekends. We're going to start doing lives here pretty soon in the mornings, just so that we can continue to be going 7 days a week. But anyways, why did I start this channel? I started this channel 5 years ago. I started this channel because I wanted at first to be a fitness influencer. I thought that was the most cool thing in the world. That was awesome. That was perfect. I tried it. It's not my jam. Okay. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to do TikTok videos and I'm going to be a motivational speaker. That's what I'm going to do. And I did 200-300 videos and they sucked. Okay. They were terrible. I look back at those ones now and I'm like, oof, they're not great. Right. But then I stopped doing it for about 1.5 years, and a buddy of mine and I connected, who is now my manager for this kind of content. And he goes, hey man, I built my mentor, Coach JV's channel up to 3.9 million or something like that across all platforms. I want to help you. Let's get it going. And he gave me an opportunity to manage this entire thing. Now, here's the thing. I got in front of the camera and I already knew how to be uncomfortable in front of the camera. I'm learning as I go, but I created this part of the channel because I'm in real estate and I absolutely love real estate. I absolutely love the economy. I love the way that money flows. I love everything about how wealth is built. So I decided that since I'm already learning this stuff anyways, why don't I learn along the way while helping other people learn, right? So we started basic. We're going to start basic. Behind me, you can see that we're going to start doing educational content when it comes to home buying processes and selling processes. So you can start understanding how the process works, whether you're a first-time home buyer, you haven't bought or sold in 20 years, or maybe you bought and sold and your experience was terrible. Here's how we can help you, guide you through that process to make you feel like you're actually getting the information that you need. So if that's something that interests you, like I said, pay attention to our channel. We're going to be ramping up over the next year. We're going to be doing background stuff. We're going to be talking about, we just started moving forward with my first house that I'm going to be building as a builder. I'm really excited about that. Financing is set in place. So as that progresses, we'll update you. This is going to be a channel that's going to help people start creating wealth, whether you want to be in real estate, whether you want to understand how to invest. Those are my two focuses. I initially thought real estate's my only thing. That's what we're going to go after. But I realized how much the real estate market correlates with the economy. And so that's when I just kind of intermeshed. People say, well, no shit. No, it obviously correlates, but there's more to it than that. And that's why I jumped into it. So anyways, that was why I started this channel, and I appreciate those of you who are watching. We're starting to see views go up. We're seeing more views on our Instagram, our TikTok. We're going to start posting on X again. Things are ramping up, and I appreciate everything you guys do. I really do. So let's jump in. First thing, interest rates unmoved per usual, but I have optimism moving into the weekend. So just like we always say, on Friday is typically when we get something that's going to just text, they're going to tweet, or Trump's going to come out on True Social, he's going to hit us with it, and then we're going to roll into the weekends when the market's closed. I think it's because they are preparing us for 24/7 markets. I think that's part of why they're doing it, because nobody can trade Saturday and Sunday. But companies are starting to transition to the 24/7 trading. And that's interesting. Again, a whole nother video to even talk about. But what are we going to be paying attention to? First, let's talk oil as we do. Because again, remember, oil correlates with 10-year bonds. 10-year bonds directly correlate to the mortgage rates, right? Okay, so let's talk about it, all right? We talked about, a few days ago, this is my daily chart, This is US WTI crude oil spot. I have to clarify that on every video because it's one of those things where I always get comments and I say you can't, whatever. The comments are awesome. Appreciate your engagement. Negative engagement, still engagement to me. So anyways, we saw that our bottom, we talked about it. $85 was at like that bottom. We noticed that we were out of momentum heading down. And then there was some stuff that happened in Lebanon and with Israel, and the Strait of Hormuz, obviously the big factor that everybody's scared of, right? Strait of Hormuz is still closed off while we wait for a deal to be made. However, we had optimism, right? So the Strait of Hormuz stayed closed. Boom, oil prices went up. We almost went up to $100 yesterday, and we're not even at market open, but we're starting to see a decline this morning, which I'll talk about in just a sec why I think that's happening. But I think we've made our way up, and I think we're coming back down. I really do. We might push our way up to 101. I'm going to be genuinely surprised if we go above it right now because Lebanon and Israel announced that they're going to continue a ceasefire for 3 more weeks. This is progress. This means that we're moving towards the end, a resolution. By moving towards the end and a resolution, the markets are going to react, right? Markets typically act in the future or predictions, right? It's why the prediction markets are getting so popular, which to me is absolutely nuts. I don't know why people are betting on whether the mayor of their town is going to fart in a public meeting, which is people think is crazy, but that's what people are betting on. Whatever. I don't care. It's your thing. But anyways, we're starting to see the momentum kind of dissipate for moving up, right? We saw a little bit up. We saw a little bit of movement. If the markets open here they opened 3 minutes ago. If the market pushes up this morning, there wasn't a lot of news that really was going to be negative to push the markets up. I think it was more optimistic to push them down. We're starting to see, again, if we see a lower high here on the stochastic, which is possible still, good chance we could see some momentum moving down. And on the RSI, it went up, but it wasn't a big spike, right? It was kind of, it's almost like right? So my guess is we're probably going to be going down into Monday morning unless something happens that's off-colored this weekend to separate, right? So remember how we talked about this big gap, how we needed to cover it? It always covers a gap, right? Gap here, covered, all right? The only time I haven't seen it recover is right here, but we very well could see that here in the next few months, next few weeks even. So anyways, that's oil right now. Let's see, 10-year bonds are moving up a little bit. Yesterday, we saw a big pull up, big pull backwards. It's still kind of, again, potential for a higher high, lower high, and then potentially even a lower high. And even right now, we're starting to see the transition of a trend, right, where the trend's not beautiful by any stretch of the means. Yeah, not even freaking close. Forget I said anything. Anyways, 10-year bonds, again, I'm not seeing a whole lot of movement. The S&P, where are we at? I got too much shit on here. S&P, we're almost at all-time highs once again. I don't know. What are we going to expect moving into the week? This is a pretty nuts open, all right? It goes all the way down to 703, bounces back up to 712, and now here we are, right? This needs to be recovered. I'm going to tell you, this gap needs to be covered here. I don't know when or how or what's going on with it, but it needs to be recovered. So I think we're getting close to a top here. Maybe not. I don't know. Look at that stochastic. Look at all that buying volume. God, that's nuts. Okay. Anyways, before I get too locked into the fun things here, let's get into the rest of the market. Okay. So what's going on, you guys? Well, we have some good news. Yesterday, HUD, FHFA announced major shifts. So Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and First Time Housing, or FHA, is announcing that they are now going to be allowing you renters and be using you renters and your payment history for utilities and your rent towards a credit system to help you get pre-approved for a house. This is huge news. First-time home buyers, the biggest issue that a lot of people run into, I shouldn't say the biggest, but a big issue, is credit. When we bought our house, we didn't have enough credit. We had credit cards, we had car loans, but it wasn't extensive enough for the bank to say, you know what, we can give you a housing loan. Here you go, right? Just wasn't there. So here's what happened, right? We had to do a lease to own or lease with option to own for 2 years. And then at year 2, coincidentally, interest rates dropped. It was perfect timing. We got in at 2019. We got in at the end of 2019, so beginning of 2020. No, the end of 2020, I'm sorry. Got in July of 2020, got into December of 2020, and we got, before building prices took off, we bought a house. All right, we got the lease to own, so we got to lock in that price. We just paid rent basically. And then 2022, when interest rates were 3.7, we financed our house. Didn't know interest rates at the time. We just kind of got lucky, but because we didn't have the extensive amount of credit, right? So we had to get a couple more years under the belt. This is going to help all those first-time home buyers because a big resistance and a big thing is credit. People have bad credit. They don't have, right now, we'll talk about that in just a second because that's the next thing after this article. But let's listen to this. It's a 23-minute video. We're not going to go through all of it. It's a Fox News announcement, but we're going to just listen to 10 seconds of it, so bear with me, okay?
Thank you all for being here. It's a great day for our country.
It is a great day for our country. And one thing you mentioned, too, I mentioned rent payments, but you mentioned utility payments because those are also highly predictive.
That's right.
And so the new scores will also factor in rent and utility. So it's huge. I mean, the amount of people who are, like you said, creditworthy and trustworthy who will be able to access a home now is incredible.
Right. That's right.
So, again,
they are expecting, and they keep talking about, a real estate boom. And I'm telling you guys, you can sit here and shit on the market all you want. I don't care because right now the market is heating up. It's been heating up. I'm seeing people move, right? In the last week, 5 houses sold. Last week, 5 houses sold. We have 4 more in the pipeline right now that are ready to build new construction. We have new listings coming up. We are making our way through the market this year, and it's very, very exciting. Now, here's the thing. A lot of us are deterred away from buying houses because renting, right? Renting has been a big thing for so long, but here's what we need to pay attention to when it comes to trends. Every market has an up and it has a down. It's a scale, right? And right now, rents are really high and buyers are low. And the market is going to re-level out. It always does, okay? It always does. So again, sometimes that requires a big financial crisis like 2008. I don't think that's going to happen this time around. They're going to do what they did in the 70s. They're going to deregulate the market, which is good and bad, right? Like it's good because it'll lower costs, but it's bad because some people are going to take advantage of that. But what it's going to do is it's going to give people the ability to buy homes again. They're going to give the people the ability to start generating wealth through home buying again. That is huge for all of you. All of you out there, dude, buying a house is one of the best things that I ever did for my family because now we get to take the money that we have. We're taking $75,000 in equity in our house. We're going to put it down on the new construction that we're doing. So that because we partnered with my builder, because I'm a builder, I work with a builder. I call myself a builder, right? Now we're going to get to build with that company and partner with the boss, putting money down and financing that project, building twin homes, one set on one on each side, sell one, live in the other, right? We're going to be able to sell this house, take a profit. We're going to take that 75 grand. We're going to put it down for the next build. And that is how I'm going to start building wealth by building homes is by buying a house. I bought a house on a whim because in 2020, I sat down with my girlfriend of 6 months and I said, listen, I don't want to be in renting anymore. I was living with my buddy in a mobile home. He's moving to Fargo. He's selling his house. I looked at her and I'm like, I am not renting again. I am buying something. You can either be you can live with me. I don't care. You can live with me. You can be on the mortgage. At the time, it was 6 months. Me and her both looked at each other and we're like, you know what? Let's give it a shot. She jumped on the mortgage with me. And then here we are married 6 years later, 1 baby. Who knows? Maybe another one coming sometime in the next few years, right? So all of that came on a limb of I'm not renting anymore. And I know there's a lot of people out there that don't want to rent anymore. You've been renting your entire life. You're throwing away money every single freaking month. You build no equity. You have neighbors you don't like. You live in a tight apartment building where you go through and there's weird smells in the hallways because neighbors cook and weird stuff, or maybe they're not sanitary and it smells bad. Whatever the case is, right? People want to be in houses. This is going to be something that's going to help you get into a house. It's not going to happen overnight, but it's something that's really going to help. They also brought in the Century 21 or the 21 Century Act, where they're going to start deregulating building so that, and again, this has to be more towards local zoning, right? But at a federal level, they're saying, hey, we need to deregulate the zoning so that more people can get into homes. We can build homes for cheaper. Right now, their focus is trying to remove $100,000 off of each build. That's going to be huge. That's a huge thing to go after. Right? I don't think it's going to happen for a few years. I really don't. I don't think it'll happen at all, to be honest with you. But that's the focus, right? They want to make housing more affordable. By making housing more affordable, obviously we're going to see more home ownership, right? Now, here's the problem, right? Most people are getting into credit card debt, and the credit card debt is the highest it's been ever. It's at $1.4 trillion last time I looked. $1.4 trillion in credit card debt. Right now, student loan debt, credit card debt, and car loan debt. Those are the 3 things that are tearing people apart right now. First off, credit card debt, people are getting credit cards and they are buying the shit out of them, maxing them out, and then they can't pay them off. The interest rates for credit cards are 25 to 26%, which is absolutely astronomical. You'll never dig yourself out of a hole like that because most people don't have the discipline to start over, right? Not only that, but I mean, how do you dig yourself out of a hole if you have $2,000 at 25% interest monthly? Holy crap, imagine the compound. I can't even imagine. Car loans. People have car loans and they're taking negative equity from car A to car B because they want a new car. They'll take $10,000 in negative equity. They don't give a shit. So many people are belly up on their cars. So many people, right? And then, finally, we talk about student loans, and student loans have just gotten more and more and more and more insane. The amortizations for student loans made me outrageously pissed when I found out because my wife has less than 20 grand in debt, but the amortization is so predatory for young people. Dude, it is like, I learned about it. I looked at how much she was paying monthly and how much went to the principal, and I almost puked. The amount of interest that banks and lenders make off of young 18-year-olds that have no idea how the world works, are told to borrow against their future selves to get into a job, which they can't even get into an entry job at this point anyways. Dude, it is honestly, it bothers me to an extent because people work so hard in college to get a degree, then they can't even get a job afterwards, and they go back working to a basic job anyways, and they have the student loan debt that they can't pay off because the amortization is absolutely bullshit, right? People need some sort of relief at this point. And that comes down to right here. First, they stop paying off credit cards, then they stop paying their mortgages. John Brooks, he's a great guy I follow on X. He is a realist. I'm optimistic, right? I don't think we're going to be moving towards a real estate crash. And I'll say it again. First, we're going to talk about home equity, okay? Home equity. This is Ken McElroy. He is a phenomenal dude. I listen to him on YouTube. He does a great podcast, does great information. The chart says that all home sales are down 35% from the peak. Construction declining 4 straight years. This isn't a crash. It's a stall. It's stalled markets kill bad flips. Time plus debt equals risk, okay? Here's why sales are going down. Why are sales going down? Because everybody's locked into their liquidity right now, right? Everybody's locked into their market. Again, we're going back to John Brooks now. John Brooks talks about this. U.S. homeowner equity is $36 trillion. $36 trillion. That's a big effing number. That's almost the amount of the debt the United States has. We are at $39 trillion. That's $36 trillion in equity locked in fucking homes, right? Almost 3 times the 2006 peak. If you're wondering why sellers won't sell, buyers can't buy, and transactions are dead, because people are locked into interest rates that are low. This is not 2008 where people can't afford their houses anymore. It's starting to come up. We're starting to see people get into homes at 6 and 7%. They can't afford them. But the people that are in 3 and 4% interest rates, they're not moving. They're putting them on the market. If they're not getting what they want, they pull them off. They don't care because they don't have to move. They're not in a crunch in most cases, unless they have a job, death, they have divorce, whatever it is, a major life event where they have to move. They're not doing it because they don't need to. They don't care because most people that are moving now are moving because they have to, not because they want to. Some are because some people just want to be in a new house. I want to be in a new house, dude. I'm moving because I want to, all right? But most people aren't because they have all that equity in their house and they don't want to go and waste it on a new house or pay 3 times the payment, right? So that's why the market stalls, and they need more people in the market. And if they can't get those people to sell, they need to create something over here for first-time home buyers and buyers to get into homes. The average home buyer is 40 years old. First-time home buyer is 40 years old. That's outrageous, you guys. First home buyer, 40 years old to get into a house. It's frustrating. I'm 28. I had to think about that for a second. I'm 28 years old. I'm going to be moving on to my second house. I bought my first house 6 years ago when I was 22 years old with my wife. And now we have that equity so we can start building wealth. We have been tricked to believe that renting is a better option because we don't have to worry about markets. We don't have to worry about the market crashing. Investing in the stock market, that's the way to go. It frustrates me because buying a house was the best thing I ever did for my family. And that's why when I got into this market, I learned quickly that this market is not about getting money. It's about helping people. I learned early on, if you're chasing money, yes, you might make it, but you're going to not be happy with the person you turn out to be. But if you reverse that and you focus on how can I help people, you'll consequently have more money, and you'll be able to help more and more and more and more people. You'll feel good, you'll help people, you'll make money, and you'll just continue the cycle, right? Anyways, my whole point of today's video is this. We need to get into a new world of affordability for people. Right now, we're at the highest unaffordability ever. Right? 2006 bubble, 2025 bubble. They're calling it a bubble. You guys, this bubble is different, okay? You can say what you want about it, but I'm more worried about the private credit markets than I am anything else. But the affordability is out there and people can't get into a home. So here's what we have to do. We have to figure out ways to help people get into homes, help people list their homes, whether that means, again, we still have more things on the table. Portable mortgages, taking your current mortgage to your next house. That would be insane. 50-year mortgages. Yeah, I get it. 50 years, man, that sucks. Most people are going to crunch their nose out and say, oh, we're not doing that bullshit, the amount of interest I have to pay. First off, you don't care how much interest you have to pay. Otherwise, you wouldn't be buying a house at a 30-year mortgage anyways, okay? That's going to extend 20 years. Yeah, you're going to pay more in interest, but nobody ever pays off their home. Number one and number two is going to help people get into homes. Now you have the ability for credit scores to be used, or your rent history and your utility history, to build a history so that you can actually purchase a home with a bank that says, yes, your credit score and you are reliable to buy a home. So here's how much you can get pre-approved for. We have steps that are being made. Again, we're in April. Midterms are in November. We're going to find out in November what is going on. And we're going to find out in August, we're going to find out in September, and we're going to find out in October, because they're going to release all of these things right before the midterms so that people can be excited, peak emotional highs and saying, yes, we're doing good. We're voting red. That's the goal, right? That's the goal with every government. When one side is in, whether it's left versus right, I don't give a shit. Okay. I don't care who's in the office, because I'm going to make money either way. But if the left is in the office and they're dominant in the Senate, guess what they're going to do? They're going to do everything in their power at midterms to make sure that they keep power in those seats so they can continue to make laws that align with the policies that they ran on. Same thing on the right. They're going to be going after that this fall. And all of you are going to just fall for the same thing, because you're all going to be super excited. Houses are going to be more affordable. Interest rates coming down. Whatever the fuck it is. I don't know. But at the end of the day, this year, we're going to see boom in the housing market again. And if we don't, fine, I'll eat crow. Do not care. But I'm staying optimistic because I'm seeing the good things. There's bad things. I get it. But we have to look at everything, not just hyper focus on one thing. If you're comparing and saying 2008 is going to happen, it's not going to happen in the real estate market. It will happen in the private equity market, Because remember, the private equity markets were created right after 2008. They flip-flopped. And the difference is now banks are not holding the bag if you default on your loan, where BlackRock has to come bail it out. The 401k holders are the ones that are holding all of the risk right now. And most of you don't even know it. And that's okay. You put into your 401k because you were taught you're going to get a 6% match by your employer. You're going to put 6% in, and that's going to be your retirement. But here's the thing. Most of you don't even know where that money is. And people say, oh, I know where it goes. It's general ETFs. It's general this. It's general that. What companies are they invested in? And most of you cannot tell me that. And if you can, cheers. Good for you. That means you're paying attention, but most of you aren't. That's why I don't put my money into 401ks. I like my money where I know it's at, where it's going to be. I put my money into hard assets, silver, gold, real estate, high risk, cryptocurrencies, right? Because that's how my company is going to run. That's how my whole system runs, my family system, right? That's how I'm creating wealth. So thank you guys for watching today. We're going to pay attention, but this credit reporting is going to be a game changer for all of you people that want to get into a house. Pay your rent on time, pay your utilities on time, and start planning. And the best way you can start planning is reach out to me. I don't care if you're in North Dakota. Let's start giving you a process. I will take 30 minutes, jump on a call with anybody who wants to, and I will help you make your next first step. And if you're in a different state, I'll learn about that state for you so that we can guide you to home ownership, because that's the number one priority for me, home ownership for people. But anyways, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, comment below. Have a blessed day.